Here she is, still yammering on at us. So, again, I'm going to apologize that I am talking so much at you, and I promise it will get less and less and less. So, I tried to record these videos a few times at school, and I kept getting interrupted by teachers popping in, custodians, the announcements going on. So, I give up. I'm at home and trying to record these things, but you'll probably hear kids yelling in the basement. Cat's probably walking across my screen, but we'll do the best we can. We are continuing on with the creative process, but now we're going to look at Blackbooks and what we're going to do with them and how they fit in with the creative process. But before we get started, I have to show you my cool shirt. Miss Rockburn made this for me today, and so some of you got to see it first day of classes, some of you didn't, but Miss Rockburn was very excited, so I thought I'd show it off and for you, and I even wore it, and she wore hers. So, all right, let's look at Blackbooks. All right, so we looked at idea boards and how they fit in with the creative process, and now we're going to look at black books. So, what is a black book? And a black book, all it is just a sketchbook. I call them black books just because of graffiti writers call them black books because they prefer the books with the hard covers that you have, just because they're more durable. So, they actually call them black books. So, I call them black books. So, that's what the heck I'm talking about when I say black books. They're just sketchbooks. So again, that creative process, that cycle that we're looking at, we looked at idea boards and how they're in the first three stages of the creative process: challenging and inspiring, and imagining and generating. And here's my cat, planning and focusing. So now we're going to be looking at black books and how they fall into the creative process. So with our black books, it's sort of a place to explore and experiment, and that's not only just with ideas, but that's also with like materials and just different techniques. And this is where you're going to start producing like your rough sketches and just starting thumbnail sketches and just some ideas about what you're going to do. And this is when you start to like refine some of your ideas and some of your work. Now, and again, and I mentioned it before, is collecting some images and ideas can also be done not just through idea boards, but the first three stages of your creative process can also be done like in your black book. So they are like idea boards, and like quite often I jot down notes, or I'm out somewhere and I'm sketching something, or I find like a neat image like in a magazine and I cut out and I stick it in there, or somebody's back in the day mailed me a postcard, or I find a leaf on the ground that I think looks kind of cool, or I take a picture of something and I print it off and I throw it in there. And that's all part of like what we're doing with idea boards. But that's part of how we can even use our black books as part of our idea boards as well, to sort of organize ideas. So you can use it any way that you like. But again, we are going to be focusing on using it for a place where we're sort of exploring ideas and are experimenting with different techniques, and we're just getting ready to produce some of our final stuff. Okay, so the most important thing though is these black books are for you. Use them for the stuff that we're doing in class, but you want to do extra stuff in it, please by all means go ahead and do anything that you want in them. Write, draw, glue stuff in it, collage, finger paint, anything. They're yours, and any way that you want to use them. In fact, I'd be really proud of you if you fill that whole sketchbook up. Okay, because they are works of art in themselves. And what's kind of cool with sketchbooks and black books, so black books is such a huge part of the graffiti community. And when we do graffiti, you actually see that these are like so precious to graffiti writers, and we'll look at those in the graffiti unit. But just for artists, like just a lot of artists sort of share their sketchbooks all the time. And on YouTube, you can even search if you want. They actually have whole videos where they flip through their whole sketchbook, so you can see everything that they do. They swap sketchbooks. Some of my sketchbooks from high school, I have other people that have sort of drawn in them, and then I drew in theirs. And now that I'm old, and 25 years later, when I look through them and just, it's a lot of memories just sort of seeing other people's art in there. And you never know where some of these people might end up. It might be some famous artists, later on. So, but just sharing these sketchbooks online or with other people, that's how you inspire other people, and that's how you learn. So in the last lesson, I was showing you about the sketchbook project where they actually send in their sketchbook, and they have a sketchbook library. I hope you had a chance to look in there because there's such some amazing stuff, and it's artists of all different types of sketchbooks, and some people are drawing and some people are painting and some people are collaging, and it's just neat to see all the different ways that people use their sketchbooks. And then we looked at as well the Thousand Journals project, where there's people all over the world, and they're not necessarily like, well, I believe that everybody's an artist, but they're not like hardcore professional artists doing this stuff. These are everyday people just being creative, and it's really neat to see. So I hope you had a chance to look at those two websites. Um, so that's how we're going to be using our black books for part of the creative process. Now, for our next lesson, let's look how we're going to use them in the urban art class. Okay, so we'll see you in a second.